I mean, to say tensions are running high would be to put it very, very mildly indeed.
To Liverpool, where a car has collided with pedestrians. A 53-year-old white British man from the Liverpool area has been arrested. Earlier today, I heard Tony Evans, Liverpool football journalist, talking about the joyous scenes he was witnessing as Liverpool Football Club paraded their Premier League trophy in front of what could be close to, or maybe was close to, 1 million people who'd poured into the city centre to celebrate their Premier League win. We can speak to Tony again now. Tony, good evening.
Good evening.
Tell us what you've been able to find out from speaking to people on the ground.
Well, the first messages started coming through shortly after 6 o'clock, where people were saying there'd been an incident and it was ugly. And obviously that you have a great deal of concern for family and friends who are there. And normally there's a lot of confusion in these things, but it quickly became apparent that a car had driven into the crowd and there were some injuries, and some of them quite severe. And it's extremely concerning. Now, you always worry about things like this when there's a big gathering of people. And we've seen this year, Newcastle, huge amounts of people after they won the League Cup, and Crystal Palace today in South London. And you always hope that something like this won't happen. And I think what most people are hoping for is that there'll be a rational explanation for it.
It's so upsetting and it's so distressing to see some of the pictures and hear about what's happened. We've heard eyewitnesses who were very lucky to get out of the way of the car as it drove down Water Street. I mean, just describe, for people who aren't familiar with Liverpool city centre, that's the sort of central business district area, isn't it? That would have been absolutely heaving, not too far away from the famous Liver building and the waterfront.
Yeah, it's right by the town hall, and it's where the Dale Street dips down to the river, which is only, 400 yards away. And it would have been one of the pinch points in the city where the crowds would have been at the densest. What I do find really difficult to understand is how a car could get into that area when so much of the city centre was cordoned off, and it seems strange at that point a car could get down there, but we will find out about this in the fullness of time. It's quite interesting that the police have already said it's a 53-year-old local man, and they've actually used the phrase white man. So I suspect that's to stop any panic about the idea that might have been a terrorist attack. But we do need a lot more information before we make any real decision. Well, before we understand what actually happened.
Indeed, and the police have urged people not to share the distressing content which is circulating on social media. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has said the scenes in Liverpool are appalling. My thoughts are with all those injured or affected, and he's saying that he's been kept updated on developments and asked the police to be given the space that they need to investigate, which are all obviously very sensible sentiments. I mean, just on a personal level, Tony, I mean, it was such a joyous occasion this afternoon. It should have been such a joyous occasion, and now it's been overshadowed by something like this. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, absolutely awful. Given that the last title win was overshadowed by COVID, people couldn't celebrate and get together, and the previous one in 1990 was just a year after Hillsborough. So this was supposed to be a real release for fans, and a coming together, a joyous coming together, where people could actually celebrate not only the present but some of the past. And now it's turned into another episode of tragedy, which is one thing Liverpool Football Club didn't need, and the city doesn't need it.
Indeed. Tony, thank you for your time for the moment. That's Tony Evans, a former Times football writer and a Liverpool-based football journalist. Nick, tell us more about what you can see and what you've been able to gather from what's happening on the ground.
Yeah, good evening, Nick. I'm actually on Dale Street at the moment, which joins Water Street, where the incident took place. In front of me, there is a police cordon with 25 officers on this side of it. They just moved back away from the scene, one junction away. There were a large number of ambulances, St John's ambulances, on the street. Now that's down to about 2 or 3, a fire engine as well on the street. a number of police cars. I've just seen a scientific support unit, 3 or 4 cars drive under the barrier to go and presumably investigate exactly what happened. The feeling on the street here at the moment, I mean, to say tensions are running high would be to put it very, very mildly indeed. Lots of people concerned about those victims. What we know so far is that a car drove into a number of people on Water Street in the centre of Liverpool at around 7 p.m. this evening. We don't know exactly how many are injured or yet if anyone has lost their lives, but the feeling on the street here is that this is a really, really serious incident, and it's just turned what was a day of huge celebration here in Liverpool. I was actually here covering the Premier League trophy parade as a journalist for TalkSport, and on my way out of the city at around 7 p.m. when I heard the news and came running back in, and you could hear among the huge numbers of people that were on the street. I mean, we expect 1 million people were on the streets of Liverpool today to celebrate the football club's second Premier League trophy in 4 years. But you know, you could hear the news filtering through, and actually here on the scene on the street itself, there are lots of people milling around. Some journalists, some people filming with their mobile phones, and people who I think live nearby, angry at what they perceive to be rubberneckers. And actually, at times like this, you realise how far journalists have fallen in the standing of people, because I've been abused just trying to do my job here. But as I say, the local council, Merseyside Council, are liaising with police at the moment. I know an air ambulance arrived very close by on the scene. We're right by the Library building, right by the Strand on the waterfront of the Mersey. And the atmosphere that was a massive party here in Liverpool has turned very, very sour indeed.
Well, obviously, do what you can to make sure that you stay safe, Nick, and we do appreciate the report that you're bringing us this evening.